All right, we're going to look at one other type of trait. This is our third one. We've had the regular Mendel traits. We just finished the incomplete dominance traits. Now we're going to look at sex-linked traits. And so if we look at slide 2, we've seen this picture before of a karyotype showing a human and their 23 chromosomes or pairs of chromosomes. This first question is asking you, we've talked about this before, why is there 2 of each type? So why is there 2 of chromosome 1, 2 of chromosome 2? I would hope that at this point we understand that. Now, what it wants you to think about in the second one is which ones are kind of different. Both chromosome 1s look the same, both chromosome 2s look the same, both chromosome 3s look the same. The one that looks different is this last one that's not numbered. So there's your first clue. It's not numbered. It's called X and Y. This is the 23rd chromosome. But you'll notice that one of the chromosomes is like full-sized, and one of them looks like it's like the Y chromosome looks like it's half the size of the X. This chromosome serves more than one purpose, but it serves one very large purpose, and that is determining the sex of the organism. So if you get like this one, I could look at this karyotype and I know immediately that this is a male because they're XY. If they had 2 X chromosomes, then on that 23rd chromosome, then I would know that they're female. There is no such thing as 2 Ys. You're either XX or you're XY. So why is that important? The X chromosome, you can see, is full. There are some traits that are found on the X chromosomes, some alleles for genes on the X chromosome. They are missing on the Y chromosome. The only thing that's on the Y chromosome is the information saying it's a male. So there are traits, in other words, that if you're a male, you don't have 2 alleles for that trait. You only have the allele that's on the X chromosome. And so that's going to affect the inheritance patterns that we have seen in the standard Mendel traits or the incomplete dominance traits. And so we're going to look at how those work in this lesson. So one thing to consider too is that we've got 5 possible phenotypes now. You could be, because we're going to factor in female, there are 3 possible descriptions of genotypes for a female. You could be female homozygous dominant, you could be female, you could be heterozygous and female, you could be female homozygous recessive. With males, we don't really worry about heterozygous homozygous because you only have one trait. You only have one allele for these characteristics. So if a male, you're either dominant or you're recessive. You're not going to have both because, again, you only have one trait. So if we look at this in our chart over here to the right in that picture, you can see these 2 offspring. Well, first off, we got the father up top. We have the mother on the side. And so you can see all 3 varieties of the mother here. You can only see 2. My bad. You can only see 2. This mother here, the mother would be, in this case, XHXH. That's how we write these. We put the X's to show that it's the X chromosome or the Y chromosome. And then up here in a superscript, we write the allele for the specific trait that we're looking at on that chromosome. So this would be X capital X lowercase. And so this trait, we can see that the mom is heterozygous because she's got one dominant and one recessive. This daughter here would be homozygous dominant. We don't have an example of homozygous recessive, but it would be X lowercase X lowercase. So there's a little bit more to write with these ones, and what we're paying attention to for the trait is the thing that's in superscript in the little font at the top. The X's or the XY tells us the sex or gender of the offspring. So you can see here this father would be we don't do homozygous, would be male for the genotype, and then would be dominant, male recessive. Okay, so you can see why on the Y chromosome there is no allele marked, and so you can't be homozygous or heterozygous if you're male, because you only have the one trait. And that's why it's important that we write the X and the Y on there. Okay, so you're going to draw right here to type these. So like you're going to do a capital X. To do the superscript, if you hit Control or hold Control and hit period, it'll go into superscript. And so like dominant, I can put H. And then if I hold Control and hit period again, it goes back to regular typing. Same thing, Control, period, and I want the capital again. And then that's how we do the superscript. So if you hold Control and hit period, it will toggle back and forth between regular typing and that superscript typing. I'm going to undo those and let you guys do those. Okay. So here, we'll do one practice problem together for slide 4. It tells us color blindness, and this is a real thing. Color blindness is a sex-linked recessive trait. So that tells you it's on that 23rd chromosome. That's what sex-linked means, and it is recessive. So if you have it, or if you're colorblind, you have 2 recessive traits. Neither Harry or his wife are colorblind. They had a son who is colorblind, though. Make a Punnett square to show how this is possible. So here's what we got to think about. Neither one of them are colorblind. So that tells us immediately the father has 2 dominants. I'm going to do T's here. That's just what I do. So control period, T, and then over here, this is our Y, and there's nothing on there. So the fact that he's colorblind, we are not colorblind, we know that he has to have the dominant trait because otherwise, again, there's no in between. You either are or you aren't. There's no heterozygous here. So we know the father's going to give at least the capital recessive, and then he's going to give, on this side, he's going to give a Y. And on this side here, he's going to give a Y. And in here, he's going to give an X. And a cap. Gosh, dang it. Sorry, my bad. Control period, T. Okay, so we know he's going to give that, so we've got that much of the offsprings filled out. Now, it tells us that they had a son who is colorblind, but that the mother is not colorblind. So we know that the mother must have at least one dominant trait, because otherwise she would be colorblind. So we go through and we can fill out that son or daughter would be homozygous dominant. This one, the son, would be not colorblind, would be normal vision. But in order to give it, we have to have the colorblind trait, so we know that the mother must be heterozygous. And so she's got that. And so now this daughter would be heterozygous, but she would have normal vision. So both daughters in this case would have normal vision because the dad can only give the X chromosome that has normal vision on it. So they're going to get at least one normal vision trait. This son, however, is going to get the X chromosome from mom, and it's going to be the lowercase. And so this one square would result in a colorblind child. And so your possible genotypes, we've got 4 of them. I'm just going to copy them. I'm going to be smart. And we're going to go Control C, Control V. I don't want to type all that. It's a lot of typing. All right, we've got 4 different genotypes here that they could be. Each genotype is different because of the gender factor. When we think of our phenotypes, though, we can get a normal vision girl, we can get a normal vision boy, or we could get a colorblind boy. That would be 1 out of 4. Normal vision girl would be 2 out of 4, and a normal vision boy would be 1 out of 4. Okay, and so that's how we would fill that out. Again, just looking at it, that's normal vision, normal vision. So one thing to kind of pay attention to, if it's a sex-linked recessive trait, the mom is going to be the one that gives that to the son. If the son has the trait, then it has to come from mom, because sons will only get the Y chromosome from dad. Okay, so these ones are, I would say, the most complicated of the 3 that we're doing. You've got 3 more practice ones to do, slides 5, 6, and 7. So actually 4 Punnett squares, and hopefully we'll have time that we can go over this in class, maybe on Monday as well.